It's fantastic, it's simple, it's fast, it works on any device, even and including iPads, Android pads, mobile phone. So SmartSuite is a true, totally web-based system. No apps, no plugins, no players. Just put your URL in, log in on the right-hand side or single sign-on if that's how you set up. And if you have authority to circulate, you can click on here and you can go to circulation. However, before we go into circulation, there are fundamentals that need to be considered and set correctly. And if these parameters are set correctly, you will have absolutely no issue with circulation. So the first thing we should do is check the parameters in cataloging. So let me have a look and show you what we're talking about. In cataloging, every catalog record has a copy tab, and in that copy tab has a loan type and a renewal type. It's not good enough that it just has a word called fortnightly or daily or yearly. It has to have a number behind that as to what that means. So fortnightly for you might mean 10 days, cutting out the weekends. It might mean 14 days, or it might mean some other number. So you need to make sure that every loan type and every renewal type has a parameter. So that's the first thing that you need to do. To be able to set those parameters, you click onto the menu button, you go down to configuration, and you go to your authority file editor. And because we're talking about the loan and renewal type, so we'll go to authority editor, and the authority file is all alphabetical. So we'll click on that and then go down to the loan type. Click on loan type, and there's all your different loan types. And it's not good enough to just have those words in there. If you want another one, just type it in there, whatever other one you want. You might have a term loan, you might have a buy term loan, you might have anything you like, and then you can allocate that to your catalog record. Okay, but the important thing is once you've set that, you need to click the pencil. So if I'm looking at the daily and I click that pencil, I need to make sure that daily means 1. Okay, if you need to change that, and for you daily means 2 or 14 or 7 or whatever, you need to put that in there. Okay, now fortnightly, click on that, it's 14 days. And of course you can delete that and just create a brand new one. So very important that you need to go into loan types and make sure you've got loan types in there, and make sure you've got numbers behind those loan types. The next thing you need to do is you need to go into renewal type. Exactly the same. Okay, if you want to create a new renewal type, put it in there and press the plus, and then you have to click the pencil against each one and tell it what that word you've put in there, what it means. So you can have fortnightly, weekly. How many kind of parameters can you have in the renewal type and loan type? Everything in SmartSuite is unlimited. So go ahead and do that. So that's on the catalog side. Now, every patron in the system who's going to be borrowing from you, okay, so let me just go into patron management, and we'll just go and let's have a look at a patron here. Okay, so Mary Jane. Now this particular patron is an administrator. Okay, now let's see if I've got another patron on there. Yep, this Joe is a year 12. So the class grade is very, very, very important for circulation. Okay, just like you had a loan type and renewal type for a book, every student has a class grade, and every class grade has borrowing parameters. Where do we go for that? Again, we click on menu, we go down to configuration, and we go down to authority file editor. And remember, it's alphabetical and we're talking about class grade. So you click on that, you come down to class grade, and again, you can create as many class grades as you want. Just click the plus. But the important thing is each one of these class grades has an individual parameter that states when you want the books back, how often they can renew it, and what the renewal period is, and can they have more than one copy of a book. If they've left the book at home, can they just come and borrow another book? So we're going to have a look at these parameters that also need to be set. We'll just choose year 12 as an example. Click the pencil for year 12. Okay, so the year 12 has a security code of 12. Let me explain the security. So if I'm a P212 school and I've got senior fiction, and if I mark that book as a year 12 only person, then only year 12s can borrow it. If a year 11 comes to borrow it, they won't be able to. Okay, if this was a class grade of 9, excuse me, and the security code was 9, always make sure that the year level and security level are same. Okay, so if the security code was 9 and then you flag the book approved for year 9 and above, they'll be able to borrow it, but a year 8 won't be able to borrow it. Final borrowing date is self-explanatory. That's when you want all the books back into the library. Okay, before your stock take, before your end of year, that's what that date is. Expiry date, I always say to people, figure out when you're going to leave the school. So if it's 20 years from now, add 20 years to today's date and then make that the expiry date, and you never have to worry about that again. Okay, now loan limit, so they can borrow 5 books for 14 days. They can renew their books on the internet from home 5 times. You can go, no, I am only going to allow them to renew it once. How long can they renew it for? 14 days. So they just get the option to hit renew on any book, and it'll renew it once for 14 days. If renewed it before, it will not allow them to do that. How many reservations can they have? This one is very important. Multiple copy, that should always be off. Multiple copy is the kid has borrowed a book, they've got it at home, but they forgot to bring it to school and it's a textbook. Don't worry about it. Go to the library, just borrow another book. Well, if you make sure that they cannot have multiple copies, when they try to borrow a second copy, it'll just say, Jonathan already has the book, so don't give him another copy. Okay, now obviously you can override everything in circulation, but that's why that's important. Patron override, that should also be off for everybody. Okay, and I'll explain why in a minute. So let me just save that record, and when you hit save, whether you have 1,000 students or 2 students in year 12, the fact that you hit save, all year 12s will now automatically be updated within a fraction of a second with all these new parameters. Okay, so that's what the save does. Now let me go and show you the administrators or staff. So here it is. Here are the staff parameters. So staff is 50. So remember I said year levels are all the same as their security range. So if you're a security 7, you can borrow material up to a security 7. If you're a security 10, you can borrow material up to a security 10. If you're a year 12, you can borrow material up to year 12. 50, let's say for argument's sake that you've got some very expensive art books and reference books, and you only want to make it available for teachers. Now we can't allocate teacher like a 13 or a 14 or 15, so we just say give them a generic number like 50. So you might have all your staff with 50, so they can borrow any material up to a security of 50. But you have itinerant staff, they just come and go, so you wouldn't give them a normal staff status. You'll call it itinerant or temporary staff, and you might give them a security of 25, so they can borrow material up to a security code of 25. That's what that is. Okay, now remember, they can have teachers can have 200 books out on loan, and they can borrow for 365 days. But remember, on the catalog record, we said there were fortnightly loans and 7-day loans and so forth. So what happens when they come to borrow, a teacher comes to borrow a 7-day loan item? Well, I said, no, they can have it for 365 days. Yes, but for that to happen, you've got to say that the patron can override whatever the book limit is. That's what that's there for. Okay, so when you put a different parameter here for the staff grouping and the administrators grouping, and you wanted to override whatever the book limit says, you put it there as they override it. Okay, and again, when you click save, fraction of a second, anyone that has staff rating, whether it's 1 staff member or 5,000 staff members, that's what's going to happen. Okay, Now that we've got over all the parameters, we're going to come back to that and refer to it because I've deliberately put some parameters in that won't work. So I want to show you circulation. So menu, circulation, and then circulation. Now, this is the stock standard circulation screen. And the only field that you put data into is up here where it says patron, copy, or barcode. Okay, so basically, let's say for argument's sake, you can't borrow from this library unless you have a patron borrower's card, and I zap it. So if you've got that, then you can enter the patron's barcode and the patron's name will come up, all his borrowing parameters will come up here, his photograph if he's got one will come up here, and in exactly the same field you can enter the barcode of the book, then the next barcode of the book, then the next barcode of the book that you want to check out to this patron. And if it's a new patron, you enter the new patron's barcode, and then the barcode of the book, new patron's barcode, barcode of the book, new patron's barcode. Or if you don't have a patron's barcode, how about just S for start of their surname or first name. So when you put in S, it'll bring up anyone that has S, that's name starts with S. Okay, and there you go, it's brought it all up, and then you can choose. But I could have gone, so see, there's Jenny Scott, and she's got a book out on loan, and that's how it appears for her. But I could have gone and went Smith, and I got John Smith. Okay, if there's any reason why they can't borrow, it'll tell you. It says the expiry date is the 4th of August 2020, and you go, no, their expiry date should really be the 22nd of December 2020. So what you can do is you can go OK to override it and allow the circulation to carry on. Okay, but what it means is that anyone with a class grade of year 12, their expiry date is August 2020. So instead of having to deal with every year 12, so let's go and call up another year 12, so J, someone with J, and I'll go Jen Thompson. Okay, and expiry date again, and it doesn't matter who you call up, if they happen to be in year 12, you're going to keep getting that error, and it's going to be annoying, and you have to go override and then go ahead and circulate to this person because you've now overridden. But you don't want to do that. Simple fix, go into your menu, go down to configuration, go down to authority file, and then go into class grade editor, call up the year 12, and you'll see the expiry date is August 2020. Change it to December. You just have to do it once, and all your year 12s are fixed. And that's all there is to fixing up any circulation issues. Okay, now as far as date goes, or as far as how many books they can borrow, so that's where you go to fix all your circulation issues. Now you can lend to this person, and they've got Matthew Flinders Cat and the Ultimate Cat Lover's Guide. Okay, but they've got a yellow brownie looking thing over here. What is that? Well, let me bring up another person, and let me bring up Mike Smith. Okay, got 2 overdue items. This is a great loan record. It's got a normal loan, it's got another normal loan, then it's got these red ones. What are the red? The red is, it's just overdue. That's it. It's overdue. And that's why it says he's got issues. Do you want to override? I went yes, and allows me to do that. What's the brown? The brown is saying that he claimed he returned high risk. That's what it's saying. So you can choose to continue to loan it to him and override the override error. But you can say Garfield's cat, Mike, is still overdue, and so is 100 people's. And he turns around and says to you, oh, I've got 100 people, but I returned Garfield's cat. Did you really? Yes, I did. Where is it? I put it on the shelf. Well, you can say, no, I'm going to get you to go and get me that book. So he goes, he comes back and says, I can't find it, but I put it on the shelf. or you can put a tick in there to say Garfield's cat is a claimed return. He claimed he returned it. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. So click on claimed return, put in a message that Mike said he returned it. I really don't believe him because he's constantly saying that, but I'll give him the benefit of the doubt one last time, and then you just go OK. And what will happen, he'll tell you the claims return has been processed, and now he's got 2 books that are claimed return. And they will forever be on his record. And if you ever call him up to circulate and he's only got normal loans or claim return loans, no overdues, it won't give you an error. It'll just say, well, you accepted his claim return, so I'm just letting you know these are his claim returns. And the reason why we do that is because if he starts to say the same thing about other loan items or overdue items, you might decide to say, I'm sorry, Mike, but look, you keep telling us that a lot, but I'm looking back at the last 12 months and you've got 15 books that are claimed return. Don't you think that's not possible? Okay, so it's up to you how you deal with claim return. So all you need to do is put a tick on the box that's claim return and then go claim return. If he says, I've got 100 people who made history at home, can I please renew it? Just put a tick in there and go renew. Okay, and it'll renew it. So remember in those parameters that they can borrow for 14 days and they can renew for another 14 days or another 21 days. If you click that renew button, it'll renew it for that. But Mike might say, I've got that book at home, but we've packed and I'm going on holidays and it's in my luggage. Can I please bring it back next term? That's in about 6 weeks' time. What you can do is you can click on the override due date and you can say, all right, I want to make sure that that book is back on the 12th of October. Okay, so you put in the date and then you hit renew. Okay, and exceeded the limit, so you got to be careful that they can't renew the limit as well. Okay, so you can go about and set parameters that way, and you can say that you can exceed the limit in overdue items as well. Now, to be able to do that, I'll show you where to do it, but in this case I cannot allow him to borrow past that particular date. Okay, now if I wanted to renew all of them, I could put a tick in there and then go renew, providing I could override that loan limit. Okay, if I want to return books, or let's say for argument's sake that let's get rid of this, and I said, Michael, what about 100 people who made history? He said, I lost it, I left it on the bus. You can put a tick in there and still claim return, because he's not claiming he returned, he just said he lost it. Just click on lost and it's gone. That's it. And that's how you manage your returns. Okay, now you can go ahead and call up a brand new patron if you want to. What you can do is Mike turns around and says to you, I am leaving, can you give me a list of all my books? Or if he had overdues and he said, can you please send me a list of my overdues? So no matter what you want to list from this individual patron that's up here, you can go down to please choose. You can choose a current loans item, you can choose overdue items and so forth, but I'll just do current loans. And you just hit that button, and what will happen is it'll go to the reports module, automatically load his parameters up in there, and you can print that and give it to him. Or you can click email and specify, put in his email address, put in the subject, Mike, please make sure you return these books, and then just go send now. Or you could go and put in your email address, and if you put your email address when you go send now, if he hits reply, you'll get a reply from the email. But if you don't put anything in there, you'll get an email from do not reply. Okay, and that's how you can do a report on anything that's overdue or list of current loans, history loans, and so forth and so on. If Mike says to me, to you, can you give me a list of all my loans historically? Have a look, play around with some of the stuff. You'll be amazed at what's in there. Okay, all right, it's quiet in the library, everyone's gone, and I've got a bucket full of books that people have returned and I need to return them. Click on the return button and just go barcode, 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 barcode. Just zap them all in here. And when someone comes to borrow, click on loans. You're back into the loan system. Of course, it revisits everything, and there you go. You just carry on, business as usual. And that's all there is to circulation. Now, we try to make sure that in SmartSuite, you are totally in control of how the catalog module works, how the circulation module works, how the parameters work. And in circulation, just like cataloging, you have a settings button. You can click on that settings button, and there's all the parameters in there. Have a look at it. You will be amazed. And if you change anything, don't forget to hit the save button up there. But it allows you to change the entire way your circulation module works. Golden rule: don't go and ask a colleague down the road how their circulation works. The reason for that is because they might have changed their parameters, or worse than that, you've changed your parameters and it's doing something that they have never even heard of, and you've gone into here. So if you need to talk to us about absolutely anything, circulation, you want more training, unlike our competitors, we do not charge for extras. We don't charge for modules, for configuration, for training. So if you need to contact us for anything, menu, mailbox, okay, and then support ticket, create a ticket. I would like some training on Thursday next week at 3:30. And here, I would like training on circulation, because give us a bit of a detail as to what you want. You might say, can you send me some documentation on training? If I need someone to do a one-on-one, I'll let you know. Or can you send me a video on circulation? So tell us what you want, hit the paper plane, and taste and see how good our support is. Thank you very much for presenting circulation to you.